Get the final few minutes of instruction from Coach Bob Knight before tonight's basketball game with the Wisconsin Badgers. You know, all season long we've been keeping track of the home court series. Home sweet home we've been calling it, and my oh my. Since about January the 15th, when Indiana beat Ohio State on that Wednesday night by 3 points, the home court teams have flat out gone to well, they've gone to work on the visiting teams is where they've gone to. They've won 22 of their last 26. That's nearly 85%. And 31-13 now. So as we move on, especially as a stat that I'll keep track of, especially now we start the second half of the season, 31-13. That is some record for the home court teams over the road teams. By the way, our Big Ten flashes this week include our weekly salute, our tip-off salute to Scott Skiles. For the second time in 3 weeks, the Michigan State senior guard wins the Big Ten Player of the Week honor, 65 points, 13 assists, and 8 rebounds in home court wins over Wisconsin and Northwestern. And perhaps the biggest story of the week filtered out of Columbus, Ohio, where Eldon Miller resigned. He said later, though, that he was fired. Take your pick. He is a lame duck coach now. Coaching tonight, though, at St. John Arena as the Buckeyes are playing the Northwestern Wildcats. Eldon Miller, 167, 113 losses. Ohio State currently in what has been an up-and-down season, 10-9, and overall 4-5 in the Big Ten. We have plenty of big TV4 sports action lined up for you. Let's take a brief look at what to expect the rest of the weekend. It's a rainy night here in Bloomington, but the fans are continuing to find their seats. We're expecting a crowd of 15,600, maybe 16,000. So stay tuned for basketball. Northwestern, 7 o'clock. Tip-off show this Saturday night. Don't forget the 7:30 start. Chuck Marlowe, John Laskowski coming up with the telecast. We'll see you Saturday night from Bloomington.
Indiana University Tip-Off. Brought to you in part by Eastgate Chrysler Plymouth, Midwest's largest retailer of Chryslers and Plymouths.
Nobody makes a lettuce and tomato hamburger like McDonald's new McDLT.
McDLT made fresh for you.
Keep the hot hot.
And the cool cool. Cause McDonald's did what no one else could do.
Let's keep the hot hot.
And the cool cool.
The beef stays hot, the cool stays crisp. It's the hottest taste, the coolest dish.
Could be the best lettuce and tomato hamburger ever.
It's a good time.
Hot beef and McD.
For the great taste. Cool crisp LT.
New McD. LT.
Want more in your 4x4? Then see Tom Wood Toyota, where you get more 4x4 for less. Our Toyota 4x4 is packed with the features you want, all for the full delivered price of only $89.98. Who could ask for anything more? At Tom Wood Toyota, you get more. More in a 4x4. See the 1986 4x4s now at Tom Wood Toyota, where our Toyota team is committed to your satisfaction.
A simple shopping trip without the Ameritech Indiana Bell Yellow Pages could be an unforgettable experience. You could end up going in circles or going no place fast. And getting there, too late. Going down one blind alley after another. Why go through that when you can go through Indiana's most complete shopping guide before you leave? The Ameritech Indiana Bell Yellow Pages, next to the phone. There's nothing better.
At Merchants National Bank, when you give us a plan, we'll give you a sign.
No problem.
We have your money.
Buy that equipment. You've got that loan. Let's go.
It's yours.
Do it.
Hey, let's get to work. Start stocking.
The answer is yes.
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 It's a very good sign that when it comes to money you can plan on, Merchants means business.
Yes.
Until recently, having your car tuned up was a major undertaking. But thanks to Precision Tune, having your car tuned up is as easy as $39.90.
Another ruling in the Ryan White case today. We'll have details on the Indiana Nightly News after basketball.
Never daunted, we cannot falter. In the battle, we're tried and true. Indiana, we're all for you.
Live from Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana, welcome once again to Indiana University basketball. Tonight, Big Ten action between the Wisconsin Badgers and the Hurricane Hoosiers. Hello, everybody. Chuck Marlowe along with John Laskowski. John, you've had an opportunity to see both these teams many times. I think we're in store for a pretty good game.
It really is. Inside the locker room today, the scores of the Iowa-Wisconsin game, Wisconsin won that game, and the Iowa-Indiana game, Iowa won that game, are posted. And what Coach is trying to get across is this is not a bad team. One change, though. Remember, at Wisconsin, Daryl Thomas was injured. He's back in the lineup, so don't expect Steve Alford to have as big a day. But psychologically, Coach talked about in the pregame show, it's tough to say what's going to happen.
Wisconsin 2-7, IU 6-3 in Big Ten play, and we'll be back with the starting lineups in just a minute.
A vacation on the world on Palopolis.
My job, figure out which are real, which are machines. So I took a long shot and offered each a Diet Cola.
Thanks. No thanks.
And what will it be?
Diet Dr. Pepper.
The moral of the story? You can teach a machine to drink, but you can't teach it taste.
Excuse me? Got a minute?
No, not really. I just got home from work.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a house to clean, dinner to cook, and 2 kids to take to piano lessons.
You sound like a very busy person.
I am.
I hope you've got a few minutes to talk to your Farm Bureau insurance agent about life insurance. Everybody needs it, including you.
Look, I really don't have the time. Besides, nothing ever happens to me.
Hey, no piano lesson.
For all that you do, somehow you always come through. You keep it going, your pride's really showing. Nobody shines like you, yeah, you make America work, and this bug's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This bug's for you.
We like to see you smile. We never stop trying to show you we care. When you need us, we'll be there. Hooks likes to see you smile.
Nothing's more important to Hooks than your family's good health. That's why our pharmacists in Green take their time to keep up with the latest developments in medicine.
We like to see you smile.
Wisconsin's overall record is 10-9. Indiana's is 14-5. An important contest for the Hoosiers, and certainly a claiming game for Wisconsin. They would like to have this contest to show that they really have what they had when they defeated the Hawkeyes. All right, let's go down to the scorer's bench right now for the starting lineup, and here's Chuck Kraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Indiana University welcomes you to the Assembly Hall. Here are your starting lineups. For Wisconsin, at 1 forward, a 6'7" junior from Pulaski, Wisconsin, number 42, Rod Ripley. For Indiana, at 1 forward, a 6'6" freshman from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 20, Rick Callaway. Number 44, Greg Steinhaus. The other forward for Indiana, a 6'8" junior from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, number 30, Todd Meyer. At center for the Badgers, a 6'7" junior from Wales, Wisconsin, number 40, J.J. Weber. In the middle for Indiana, he's a 6'7" junior from Westchester, Illinois, number 24, Darrell Thomas. At one guard for Wisconsin, a 6'3" junior from Connorsville, Indiana, number 10, Mike Heineman. And at one guard for Indiana, a 6'2" junior from Newcastle, Indiana, number 12, Steve Alford.
The other starting guard for Wisconsin, a 6'1 senior from Madison, Wisconsin, number 12, Rick Olson. Rounding out Indiana's starting lineup, the other guard, a 6'4 senior from Anderson, Indiana, number 21, Winston Morgan. The head coach for the Badgers from the University of Wisconsin at Madison, Steve Yoder, now in his 4th season. The head coach for the Hoosiers, now in his 15th season on the Bloomington campus, Bob Knight. Our colors this evening are being presented by the Army ROTC Color Guard under the command of Cadet Master Sergeant Dave Smith. With the IU Pep Band under the direction of Professor Steve Pratt and featured vocalist Professor Roy Samuelson. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight? For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there. For sail at the star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the brave and the home of God's
We talked about Northwestern's record, 2-7. There are 2 victories, 57-52 over Northwestern. I said Northwestern's record, Wisconsin's record rather. A 57-52 win over Northwestern and 69-63 over Iowa. They have lost to Ohio State, Indiana, at Illinois, and at Purdue. They have lost to Minnesota, Michigan State, and Michigan last week. It was Minnesota defeating Wisconsin 91-64 and Michigan State 83-81. So Wisconsin is not that bad a team. They're playing without Sheldon Smith, who is academically ineligible, and he was a great contributor to this team the last time, 19 points in Madison, John.
2 players to watch for Wisconsin. Number 12, Rick Olson, their 6'1 guard. He's at 17.6 points a game. He's Wisconsin's 2nd all-time leading scorer. Great shooter if he's on his game. And also number 10, Mike Heineman from Connersville. Coach talked about that psychological edge. We take a look at the officials in today's ball game. And remember how Jeff Moe in the Iowa game had such a great game. He knew the game was being broadcast back in Indiana. Well, Heineman's right back here near Connersville, and so he wants to have a good day for his folks.
Olson's first shot for Wisconsin is off the rim, and here's Indiana. The Hoosiers will be patient in setting up their offense. Alford with 38 up in Madison. Against the same team. Top of the key is Morgan. Down high. Meyer tries to get a hand on the ball, but it's controlled by Olson.
2-3 zone by Wisconsin. Winston maybe a step or 2 outside his shooting range. If he just takes a step in, dribble, and a step closer, he should be able to make that shot.
44 Steinhaus, 10 Heineman of Connersville. Off the rim, and Indiana will once again control. Both teams a little errant in the shooting in the early going. That's an interesting statistic. 12 straight games against the Badgers. Callaway, he stepped up and scored. Rick was not doubtful coming into the game. We knew he'd play, but he's had a virus since the first of the week. And just how long he's able to sustain 100% out there on the floor is a question mark.
I talked to Tim Garl yesterday, and he said that Rick practiced about 45 minutes in yesterday's practice, but that was the first time this week he had. He may be a little under the weather as far as his conditioning goes. We'll have to wait and see as the game progresses.
Olson tries to force it inside. Here comes Indiana with Morgan to the top. Behind the back pass to Callaway. Lays it off to Meyer. And 2 more. Indiana 4, Wisconsin nothing in the early going here at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. Steinhaus from Portage, Wisconsin. And he gets the feet underneath and an easy basket from Rod Ripley. They give the assist to Heineman instead Ripley. It's 4-2. Again, Indiana looking into that 2-3 zone. Back out on top, it comes to Alford and around the Morgan underneath to Meyer and a foul. That will be the first of the game, and it goes against Rick Olson, the senior from Madison La Follette. Owns just about every high school record in Madison, Wisconsin.
Coach Knight off the bench that time talking to the players. They need more movement inside. With Winston on the point, that means you got to have players cutting inside the lane area, flashing in there, and Indiana was not doing it that time down the floor.
Galloway takes the inbounds as Indiana with a 4-2 lead attempts to set up offensively. He's looking for the post. There it is. And it won't fall. Thomas had a good shot. The ball just had too much rim. Now Wisconsin with a chance to tie. J.J. Weber at 12 points the last time these two met. Weber, Steinhaus, the rebound. Heineman looking inside, and he travels. London Bradley making the call on the far side. (4-2) Indiana.
Wisconsin just 1 out of 5 from the field, but Winston Morgan, a big part of that is he's stopping Rick Olson from even getting the ball. If Olson's, as I mentioned, if he's able to get the ball, he's a good shooter.
That's the way. A 6'8" man who can get up off the floor has to take it to the basket. Todd Meyer with just a good, solid power stuff. It's 6'2" Indiana. Weber. And that shot is awry. It will be a foul against Indiana, and that goes against Thomas, his first.
Steve Yoder yelling some encouragement to his team. Indiana out of position this time. Let's watch the shot. The action inside, and Weber sneaks right in front of Daryl Thomas. Wisconsin holding a 4-3 rebound edge early in the ballgame.
Weber takes the inbounds pass for an easy 2 at 6-4. Indiana's margin is just a scant 2. We've nearly played 4 minutes. Knocked away and stolen by Wisconsin. It's out of bounds, Indiana. And running into some of the fans underneath the south basket is Mike Heineman. Hitter's 4th year. 40 wins against 63 losses at Wisconsin. Formerly coached at Ball State. Indiana looking. Here's the feed. In it comes on the drive. A foul. And will be 2 shots as Todd Meyer, showing some aggression toward the basket, saw that alley to the right side.
Todd started in place of Daryl Thomas at Wisconsin. Had a pretty good ball game with 7 points and 3 rebounds. And look how aggressive he's moving toward the basket. So he's off to another good start today.
Todd's been called upon to perform in yeoman fashion. Did an excellent job. He and Steve Isle at Minnesota. John, you missed that contest, and incidentally, our congratulations to you for the fine job you're doing on the Laura Marr Network. Meyer hits both. He has 6 points, and Indiana is back to a 4-point lead, 8-4. Heineman with Alford guarding. Steinhaus lays it off. That is just good recognition by Greg Steinhaus as Rod Ripley broke to the basket. Morgan across the top of the key. Behind the screen, Galloway, it won't fall. And the rebound belongs to Heineman, knocking Morgan under the baseline. Well, when he's all alone, Rick Olson is a threat, and he ties the game at 8.
Morgan's playing that defense Coach Knight will use once in a while. When the other team has a great offensive player, he'll assign one player to guard. This time it's Olson, and you don't help out. You just stay with your man. That's what Winston did as he fell down to the other end of the floor. That left Olson wide open for the shot.
J.J. Weber reaches across and grabs Daryl Thomas after Thomas physically went after the rebound. Let's look again.
Good game wrangle here as Alford's taking that shot. It comes off. Daryl Thomas going after the rebound.
We have a timeout with 15:05 left in the first half. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. The score is tied, Wisconsin and Indiana at 8.
It's hard to save money, but I do it. So I deserve to have it count for more at a bank that will keep it safe under its wing. One that'll help it grow with high interest. And always keep a lookout for even more and better ways for me to save. I deserve American Fletcher.
AFNB, more ways to save and earn more.
I earned the savings advantage.
I don't really work here. In fact, I've been at GTE for 10 years. I'm a GTE account manager.
But he's here a lot, making sure our GTE phone system meets our needs.
I'm the only one they ever have to call. But I can call on hundreds of specialists.
When we expanded, he helped us get into the Market Quote Network. And even use our phones to open new accounts.
This business depends on telecommunications. That's my job.
Well, Chuck, as we return to the Assembly Hall with 15:05 to play with the score tied at 8. Interesting graphic on the screen. The Badgers have had all kinds of problems playing on the road. They've won only 2 games under Steve Yoder in Big Ten activity, both of them coming against Northwestern. Kind of interesting.
Callaway on the top, feeds inside Thomas. Thomas wasn't prepared for that. They were looking at Alford, and I think Thomas came out to set the back strip. Here's Steve with the shot, his first basket.
Wisconsin's gone to a man-to-man defense. This is what they used to defeat Iowa. They prevented the ball from going into the post. But Iowa did not shoot well from the outside. Indiana, with Alford making that basket, probably shoot better.
Whistle stops the action. Sid Rodeheffer making the call, and the foul is against Indiana. Todd Meyer is first, and that is the second against the Hoosiers. Olson with the ball for Wisconsin. The Badgers trailing 10-8. Steinhaus loses the ball. Thomas near steal by Olson. Watch Indiana try to set it up. They had a screen momentarily. Alford goes ahead and fires, crashing the boards is Meyer. And it falls. Daryl Thomas getting his first basket.
Todd Myers really made a big difference early, Chuck. The slam dunk he made, that rebound there gets the ball over to Daryl Thomas. So mentally, Todd Meyer ready to play.
Rod Ripley, here's such a screen, and Olson shot Ripley with the tip in. Ripley was not expected to start tonight. That's an uncontested offensive rebound and points. 2 points for Ripley. It's 12-10. A whistle, and Winston Morgan turns it over. We have a substitution, Stu Robinson for Rick Callaway. And as we suspected, Rick is going to be used sporadically tonight. He just appears to be really pulling some air right now.
As Coach Knight brings him out of the ball game, Tim Grahl comes right down the bench to check to see how he's feeling. So Tim will kind of be the go-between there and let Coach know how Rick's feeling. So you don't want to play a player who's not under the weather. Not many turnovers so far in the game.
They shut it off inside. Robinson steps into the passing lane, drives on Olson, and now holds up. Here's the drive by Morgan. He's fouled as he goes up.
Good fast break by Stu Robinson that time, as he knew he was one-on-one and slowed down enough to find out whether he had any help coming in there.
The foul is on Olson. Here it is.
He can't really see Todd Meyer, the corner of his eye, but he waits for Winston to come down, and the foul.
Substitution, Tom Molaski, a 6'6" freshman from Grafton, Wisconsin, is in the Badger lineup. And he replaces Steinhaus as Morgan rattles it off the front of the rim. Winston's play has really improved from a court position as well as from a feeder. He's been playing point guard, and when he does an excellent job.
What a difference in this year's play as compared to last, Chuck. And again, mentally, he's ready to play this year. He came in with a brand new attitude, and it's been a big help.
Weber goes right to Molaski, handling for the first time. This is Ripley. And a jam up inside, no basket, and it's going to be a blocking foul underneath against Indiana. Daryl Thomas draws his second foul. And that is the third against Indiana as a team. Wisconsin with 4. Crowd really not into this game as yet. Here's a little push underneath. I thought Meyer might have been playing Weber just a little bit too close. They give the ball, however, back to Wisconsin. Heineman, Weber, and it's good.
Well, Wisconsin's been hurting Indiana on that out-of-bounds play. That's twice now they've scored. They clear a zone. The player cuts right down the baseline and goes for that shot. Indiana by 2.
He's trying to set it up. They're looking for post whenever they can find it. Good fake. Here's the post move. And it's loose and out of bounds off Indiana's foot. So it's going to be Wisconsin to bring it up and a chance to tie. That's the second turnover for the Hoosiers. Wisconsin with 3 as you look at Bob Knight.
See Coach pointing at his eyes. He's saying, look, you got to look where you're throwing that ball. Just don't hope that a man's there in a white jersey. You got to see him before you make that pass.
Flashing back up the top. As Olsen goes in, scores the basket, and he's called for an offensive foul. They count the basket, and more importantly, that's the third against Olsen.
Shot fake that time. Gets Todd Meyer off his feet. Daryl Thomas with good position inside. They'll count that basket.
Well, they say that's only the second against Olsen. We're tied at 14. Inside, Meyer doesn't get the ball. 12:16 left to play in the first half. Not at 12, at 14, rather. Knocked away, and a near steal by Thomas. Boy, when he's got a hot hand, look out. He has 6 points. Olsen in his last year, and he'd certainly like to go out against Indiana with a victory. It's 16-14. Whistle before the shot. It won't fall, and it's a foul against Indiana. London Bradley makes that call against Daryl Thomas. And we have timeout as Daryl is whistled for his third personal. You're watching Indiana basketball at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. Indiana trails the Badgers 16-14.
Coach, you're a living legend, an American folk hero, a winning basketball coach.
Now, I'm not sure about any of those things, but I'll tell you one thing. You are a really big TV star.
Yeah, but you could be as big a TV star as I am.
How'd I do that?
Well, sell this RCA Demencia, a state-of-the-art complete stereo audio-video system at a great price.
If I go on TV for H.H. Gregg, what are you getting out of it?
Let me coach a basketball game.
No, I'd just rather fade into obscurity than that.
Healthy crops have always grown from this land, but its newest use pretty much turns it into miracle soil. You see, R.V. Welsh Investments is creating the Meridian Technology Center. These lush 188 acres will offer a business center with drive-in service and storage capabilities, plus multi-floor office space. And throughout the remaining lakes and trees will build to your very specific needs.
From this soil, the most miraculous technology park in Indiana.
Steve Isle, number 32, replaces Thomas, who sits down with 3 personal fouls picked up in the first 8.5 minutes of play. And Indiana now going with the shorter lineup and maybe less athletic, as both Thomas and Callaway are on the bench. Callaway, as we'd mentioned, had a virus in the first of the week, and he's not back to full strength.
Big foul that time, Chuck, on Daryl Thomas. I mentioned he hadn't played in the first game, and it looks like now with just 11:40 to go in the half, he's already on the bench with 3. So for all intents and purposes, he hasn't played much here. Wisconsin's made 7 of the last 8 field goals to put him right back in the ball game.
Indiana did a good job of holding its position underneath, and Tom Molaski on the drive picks up the personal foul. That is the 6th against Wisconsin. The next one puts Indiana in the bonus. 11.5 minutes. The Hoosiers now trailing by 2 with a chance to tie. Molaski guarding Alford. Meyer looking underneath. Morgan actually didn't look like he'd squared up, but he got the shot off.
It didn't look like he was coming off that pick with the idea to shoot the ball, but the defense kind of stayed back. He put a hurried shot up there that made it.
J.J. Weber will fire up off the glass and good rebound position underneath, knocked away and loose on the floor, and a foul on scramble for the ball. And that goes against Alford, his first.
Wisconsin not known as a good rebounding team. They're 8th in the Big Ten in rebounding. They're out rebounding Indiana 9-5 and at least 2 or 3 offensive boards. There's another one. So that's been a difference in the game. Indiana ranks 5th in the conference in rebounding, but not today. Wisconsin's getting the job done there.
Meyer over the rest commits the foul. Indiana now has picked up its 6th.
And Coach talked about that mental approach, and right now we're 9 minutes into the ball game. Indiana just not very alert, not very sharp in their execution out there. They've played this Wisconsin team. They know all the players. But on their own side, Indiana's just not sharp in today's game.
Weber misses. Rebound to Morgan. And he's fouled as he comes. No, they call him with a turnover. Yeah, the whistle, and I didn't see it. I'm sure that the 2 officials could not miss that call. Phil Bova underneath and London Bradley out on top. At any rate, it will be Wisconsin with another effort and a chance to take the lead. We're tied at 16. Mike Heineman, Johnnyville, Indiana, and his brother Chris that plays for Davidson. The Heinemans are here tonight, watching their son play. And over the wrist again, this time it's Morgan. And, you know, at the risk of sounding like a coach, the Hoosiers just careless coming after the ball.
And Winston was out of position that time, coming around to make that steal. It puts Indiana over the limit. Got to get one of the players to go out there and say, look, guys, we got to get started to play here. We got to tie ball game halfway through the first half, and we need to play our kind of game. Maybe that missed free throw will help.
Well, J.J. Weber's an 83% shooter in Big Ten play. It's an unusual miss for him. 10.5 minutes left. Miles. Robinson. Morgan.
We now join our regularly.
It's off the front of the rim. Tries to chase it down. Heineman. Big boards for Wisconsin.
Now with Gerald Thomas out of the lineup is when Indiana's got to look to Alford more, as they did at Wisconsin. Steve got 38 points. And with not much inside game, Steve's going to have to be sharp from the outside.
Weber. And he moves back out and gets good position for his 3rd basket. We're inside the 10-minute mark. More than halfway through first half. It's Wisconsin 18-16. Back up into the hands of Morgan.
The poor quality of the audio portion of this picture is not due to your set. It is a technical difficulty which will be corrected as soon as possible.
In that time, it looked like Wisconsin was already starting their fast break when Winston was able to come up with the ball in good time. Watch the action inside. Now, as the ball comes back, Wisconsin's players are already leaning down the floor, and then enable Winston to come up and go make a move toward the basket.
John, I think the man, whoever comes up and finds the secret for team mood, mental attitude, and how it varies during the game is going to make $1 million.
I think you're right there, Chuck, and I'm sure a lot of coaches across the country, not only in Big Ten, but across the country, wish they had an idea of formula on how to get their team ready for every game. It's just tough to do.
There's an offensive foul called against Wisconsin, and with both teams over the limit, the foul is on J.J. Weber, his 2nd, puts Indiana at the line. I think you see by the graphic displayed, we are experiencing some technical problems here at Assembly Hall. Hope to have that corrected as soon as possible.
In defense of the coaches, though, Chuck, there's only so much they can do in preparing a team. It's up for each individual player to get himself ready, and especially the day of the game. You got a pregame meal, you got some time to think about the things you need to do, and that should be uppermost in your mind. And sometimes it just doesn't look like it as the players come out to the floor.
Tied at 18 again. Callaway will be back in at the next dead ball opportunity. Heineman, Olsen. They're fronting the post. Weber looking underneath, and Meyer trying to play the ball. There's a steal by Alford. Holds up. does a good job of squaring up, and again, as John, you pointed out so many times, gets both his feet underneath him before he goes up for the shot.
Olsen tried to cut in front that time to make the steal, and Steve let him go by, and then slammed those feet up strong. That brought the crowd to life.
Wisconsin down by 2. Whistle. Foul against Indiana. These officials are really sitting on the action on the inside. The foul is against Iowa. His first.
Quite a few fouls, and mostly on the inside nature. Chuck defending the post inside. Darryl Thomas already on the bench, and Indiana was just 10 players dressed, so not very deep on the bench.
Rod Ripley, 6'7" junior, with his 5th point. Ripley makes it 6 and a 20-20 tie. Ripley's career high, 22 points against Marquette. Alford from outside. I thought that might have been a little bit out of his range.
He had his feet set under him, Chuck. We had a good angle here at the booth to see him looking right at the basket. We just can't give him that much time.
Heineman goes underneath. It's kicked, and Wisconsin will toss it in. 8:26 remaining first half. Indiana 22, Wisconsin 20, if you just joined us. The pass into Steinhaus, and then back to Heineman. Here's Weber with the turnaround. And Robinson timed it well, trying to come in over Steinhaus, but knocked it out of bounds.
Looked like Wisconsin had good position for that rebound, so Stu did what he could to try to save it out of bounds to Wisconsin.
Badgers looking for the tie. Olsen from outside. Rebound to Alford. Shot by 12. Rebound by 12. Robinson from the corner. In the well and out. No good. And the rebound to Ripley. Olsen stops over to have a couple of words with Coach Yoder.
The 6th rebound for Ripley, and Wisconsin out rebounding Indiana 13-9.
Heineman. And one of his few that he puts up, a little pump fake, and draws the foul on Robinson.
Heineman held that ball long enough as he was already on his downward move to the floor when Stu makes the contact. Now he's in good position here. He's getting help. He leaves his feet, and it's whacks across the arm.
Mike's grandmother owns a wedding variety store at 5th and Eastern in Connorsville. It's called Heineman Corner. And I'm sure the Heineman family and all those supporting Mike watching tonight know exactly about what I'm speaking. We have a timeout. 7:45 remaining first half. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. We are tied, Indiana, Wisconsin, at 22.
It takes a lot of coal to run this company.
Coal? This is an office, not a factory. All our machines are electric.
And it takes coal to produce that electricity.
Never thought of it like that.
Coal generates more than half the electricity in the United States. It takes coal to make your computer compute, the typewriter type. In fact, on the average, every American uses 3 tons of coal each year. Amex Coal Company, powering your world.
My dad's a great guy. He's entertaining. And he's got a terrific sense of humor. Mom says he takes care of me in ways I don't even know about.
Life insurance from your Farm Bureau insurance agent. Another way to show how much you care.
We are tied. Indiana 22, Wisconsin 22, with 7:45 remaining.
6 ties, Chuck, so far here with 7:45 to play in the first half. Indiana hitting 47%, Wisconsin 45% with the Hoosiers attacking.
Hoosiers with a chance to break that tie, John.
Callaway back in the ball game and another shot.
Good save by Indiana. Post inside, and there's that other dimension we were talking about, the slam dunk by Todd Meyer. He has 8.
Twice now, Chuck. He's taken the ball and off 2 feet jumped up and slammed it down. So Todd Meyer's showing some pretty good leaping ability.
J.J. Weber to Greg Steinhaus. Wisconsin has shown patience throughout the early going of this first half, and they don't waver here. Olsen wanted to drive that. Ripley. Heineman over Alford. Oh, he gets it. That's a great shot by Mike Heineman.
Looked like Mike was trying to draw the foul that time from Steve Alford, and Steve did a good job of not making the contact. Heineman just made a difficult shot.
Inside, laid off. Robinson. Indiana's outside shooting is very cold. Save the 3 shots by Alford, 3 baskets by him. And there's a statistic to bear out what we're seeing right now.
They're unusual for Indiana to shoot less than 50% and still win, but 3 times they did. The one time they shot 50% was against Iowa. Of course, they lost that ball game by 10.
Now, there's an example of hustle by a guard and block out by a forward. And again, he had 2-1 on that basket. Here is Alford. And it's no good either. I tell you, there's a lid on that basket for the Hoosiers tonight. Tied at 24. 5:57 left first half. Olsen makes a big sweep around underneath the key, or underneath the baseline, and tries to come up through the key. Ripley looking underneath there, denying the flash across the top of the lane. At least Indiana's attempting to do that. Tipped away. Good hands by Callaway.
You can't let that ball go inside, Chuck. Wisconsin has got some good players. J.J. Weber getting a lot better working inside with the ball, so Indiana's got to prevent that ball from going inside.
Back to Olsen. Oh, there's a good feed underneath and almost lost the ball. Steinhaus misses the shot. Gets the rebound, puts it up off the glass, and scores.
He just out-hustled 2 Indiana defenders that time and made up for that missed shot. Wisconsin a 2-point lead. Now Indiana's just 4 out of 14 in the last 4 minutes of the game from the field. Wisconsin in the lead.
26-24 is the score. Callaway, free throw line. They won't fall.
Indiana's been short on all the shots they've missed now. That's 8 rebounds for Rod Ripley. But Callaway was short. Alford was short on his last shot. So maybe that flu bug is telling on the players now as we come late into the first half.
It's a foul. And this is the 3rd foul against Olsen. So that will put Indiana at the line. Just checking statistics just to make sure everything was all right. We're going to see Andre Harris for the first time for Indiana. Winston Morgan is back in. Harris comes in and has replaced Isle. Now we have a little bit more athletic ability in there, namely jumping ability to get on the boards. Question is, can Harris control himself and avoid coming over the back? We've seen that.
That's been his problem, Chuck, is the foul. 36
and he did.
fouls.
Came right over the back.
He's committed in the Big Ten. He's been fouled out of 3 ball games already, and not 5 seconds in the ball game, he picks up his first. He's just trying to be aggressive here on that free throw.
You see, right there, he's beaten. He should know that.
Let that rebound go and get back to floor for defense.
Rod Ripley. About 65%, 67% they had on the board. From the line, misses that one. So Indiana's still within range on a good field goal, and this might be it. Morgan has 7.
Better that time as Winston used that shot fake to get Wisconsin out of position. Took a drive to the baseline.
You could tell Ripley might have wanted that shot, and he elected not to take it. Steinhaus. Meyer making an adjustment. Robinson on Heineman inside, and a hold goes against Winston Morgan. His second. That's the 11th foul against Indiana.
I was going to say, Chuck, that's going to really add up here as we enter into the second half. A lot of Indiana players picking up those fouls. It could mean a lot of substituting before the ball game's over.
Well, it doesn't fall. This time Harris has the block out. Well, a good job of denying Alford the ball. Inside, and Harris, as he goes up, is hammered. Steinhaus appeared to have his arm over. We'll wait until London Bradley makes the call.
Two good plays by Winston that time, as he faked the shot and didn't take it, and then drove until the defense came to pick him up, and that leaves Andre wide open. So give Winston Morgan credit for getting Andre to the line.
3:55 left to play in the first half. Harris with 2 shots. I tell you, this crowd would really have a hard time getting into this game tonight if they were waiting for something on the floor, John. And that's not to be super critical. It's just objective. Harris, 1 for 2, and we have timeout with 3:55 remaining. You're watching Indiana basketball at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. The score, Indiana 27, Wisconsin 26.
Now's the time to save on that new Nissan car or truck you've been wanting. See your Indiana Nissan dealer today and save hundreds during our 1986 tax sale. Plus, get closeout savings on all new Nissan trucks and selected cars. It's 2 great sales in one. You can save hundreds during our 86 tax sale. Plus, you can save even thousands with closeout prices on all trucks and selected cars. Get twice the savings now during our 86 tax sale plus at your Indiana Nissan dealer.
Looking for the right store could be a wild goose chase without the complete shopping guide, the Ameritech Indiana Bell Yellow Pages. You might find yourself looking for something in all the wrong places. Lose all sense of direction. Arrive too late and come back empty-handed. Why leave yourself open to all that? Just open the book, the Ameritech Indiana Bell Yellow Pages. Next to the phone, there's nothing better.
Well, Chuck, 27-26 with 3:55 to play here in the first half. So far, 8 ties and 4 lead changes. Wisconsin owns the boards right now, 18-14. 5 offensive boards for the Badgers. 3 have gone for 2-pointers.
Wisconsin has not averaged too well in Big Ten play off the boards, 28.1. On the season, however, over 33. And that's not exceptional in board play in the Big Ten. Weber with a turnaround. J.J. has his 8th point. And Wisconsin with a 1-point lead, 28-27. They let that kind of size, 6'7", with good leaping ability, post up. And the Hoosiers are going to be giving up some baskets.
Weber's very good with his back to the basket. There you see why.
Good bounce over. Oh, up, and the basket will fall. That is good strength and agility by Andre Harris. On the foul, he'll have a chance for 3-point play. I thought he was out of position just a little bit, but jammed under the basket. Let's take a look, John.
Got caught under the basket that time. Todd Meyer with a good feed right inside, and Andre had to shoot this ball with the left hand. The ball went off the backboard and still on its way up. Came down through the middle.
Andre hits this one. His free throw shooting has improved somewhat. He's 70% in conference play. He's 2 for 3 tonight. 30-28 Indiana. 3 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the first half. Underneath on a little give and go. Blocked away by Harris. Good effort. Morgan wanted to go under. Andre's got on a roll right now, and there's a foul. Reaching in, Mike Heineman with a hold on Robinson. That'll send Stu to the line, and Heineman's first foul.
It's been Andre Harris, Chuck, who's really got this crowd going. He made that tough layup and then comes right back with a good defensive play. This isn't his man, but he sneaks right in there to knock that ball away from Steinhaus, and that leads to some Robinson free throws. So, as I mentioned, it looked like we needed a player to go out there and get the team going. It looks like Andre Harris today.
He won't call for Stu either. That's the 11th foul against Wisconsin. So both these teams really sitting under control of the officials tonight. Weber almost picked up his foot. Fires and scores. Weber can fire off balance with such grace. Give him credit. Junior from Wales, Wisconsin. We're tied at 30. 2:28 left. Alford fires. Won't go. And there were 4 red jerseys under the basket to pull it down to the Badgers.
Indiana not very patient that time. 3 or 4 more passes probably would have got that shot or a better one.
Molaski to Weber. No one in the lane. Steinhaus holds. Back to Ripley. Example of the patience we're talking about. That's a good call. The official is right. It was deflected by Indiana. Partially blocked. Indiana with a block out as Meyer gets the air ball. Andre Harris misses. Ripley. And you can see just sort of a big suck of air by Mike Heineman as he slows it up, looks at the clock with 1:25 remaining. Tied at 30. They're trying to get inside. Here's Weber and misses. Tip. And Indiana gets the ball. Stu Robinson as J.J. really plays an aggressive game.
Weber had that rebound if Stu hadn't come in there and stolen it.
And a foul. That's against Weber. As he charges in the corner on the shot on Alford, and Steve will come back at the line. Well, we used to say, and you know, we have to put some realism into this, that whenever he was up there, it was all automatic. But Steve's been having his problems recently, and by his own admission, it's not necessarily so much concentration. He says he's just a tick out of rhythm.
He still got him for 33 out of 41 in the Big Ten. That's 80%. And Chuck, that's right about what I shot.
33 or 42 now.
During my career at Indiana, that ranked like 6th or 7th on the all-time list. So I think we get a little out of proportion here because Steve's normally about a 90% shooter, but still he'll probably go down as the all-time leading free throw shooter in Indiana history. So down a little bit this year, but I'm sure he can recover from that.
31-30, 56 seconds. We're in the final minute here at Assembly Hall. Wisconsin making a good game. Steinhaus and Harris are, check that, either Harris or Morgan. I couldn't see who was last to touch over the shoulder. It's Harris over the shoulder, his second. Todd Jadlow replaces Harris for Indiana, so the Hoosiers get a little height in there now. Jay Leshevsky, 6'8" senior, right next to Jadlow, and now another substitution. Darren Schubring, 6'9" freshman from Baraboo, Wisconsin, replaces Ripley. So Steve Yoder doing a good job trying to protect his front line. There's the first free throw by Steinhaus, rips the nets. He has 5. Good balance in scoring for Wisconsin. Weber with 10, Ripley with 6. Olsen with 6, 5 for Steinhaus, and Heineman has 4. 32-31 Wisconsin, 48 seconds. Morgan, top of the key. Steps inside. I don't know if the zones cause trouble or not, John. We seem to be looking passively at the basket. There's London Bradley making the call. Another turnover, the 5th against Indiana.
That's what happens a lot of times when you are passive, Chuck. You try to make a quick burst there, and you get the traveling call. You've got to keep attacking. Winston's done the best job. When you see 2 players in front of you on a zone, you have to penetrate in there and make both of them come to guard you. That means that your team has a 4-on-3 advantage.
Shot clock is off. Near steal by Jadlow. Molaski, Alford about a step and a half off. Heineman for 13 seconds. 32-31. They'd like to take a 3-point lead in. They're going to do it. No, they aren't. Missed the shot. Tipped up and a foul. And that's going to go against Indiana. And up the line will go Greg Steinhaus with 3 seconds.
Wisconsin with a pretty big lineup. Darren Schubring at 6'9" is in there. Steinhaus is 6'9". And Wisconsin's just battling to keep that ball up there. Steinhaus finally comes up with it. Winston backs up into him, so that's 3 on Winston. Darrell now has 3, so give Wisconsin a 7-2 offensive rebound advantage here in the first half. So Wisconsin with a big edge here in this first half. I don't think they expected to be with a 1-point lead with the half nearing the end.
Wachowski from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. The first of a 1-and-1 is good. That's his first point. He averages only 2. Here's the second, and he's got his average. With 3 seconds, it's 34-31. Indiana will be looking for the last shot. 2 seconds, 1 just across the line and off the front of the rim. Stu Robinson's shot misses, and we have come to the end of the first half. The score, Wisconsin 34, Indiana 31. And we'll be back to check individual scoring in just a minute.
Dr. Tavel's Premium Optical announces the best frame price ever. Free. Trust Dr. Tavel's Premium Optical for quality eyewear at the lowest possible price. That's a promise from the doctor.
Sally, did I
Some of the most extraordinary hand-dipped chocolates in the world come from one of the least likely places of all.
Hi.
We know. We've been there.
I'm from Hickory Farms. Boy, those sure look good.
Well, would you like to try one?
And Hickory Farms has a collection of sweet elegance chocolates just for Valentine's Day.
I can't be in Fort Worth. This has got to be heaven.
This Valentine's Day, buy someone special sweet elegance chocolates. Only from Hickory Farms.
We got what it takes, true value. We got what it takes.
You're going to have to face the truth eventually, so make sure it's an accurate reading from the Borg Oval Scale, just $9.99 while supplies last. Choose your decorator color with a vinyl mat that's easy to clean. Look for the February Bargain of the Month banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
We got what it takes, true value.
Planting soybeans conservation till saves me topsoil, moisture, and money. And I save even more with Prowl herbicide. Prowl gives longer lasting control with no increase in rates, won't tie up in surface residue, for up to $6 an acre less than Lasso or Dual. A fast, shallow incorporation of Prowl controls through both the root and shoot at up to $6 an acre less than Lasso or Dual. Prowl, your best herbicide value.
Without Amex coal, practice would be over. It takes coal to produce the electricity that lights basketball courts, all the way from backyards to Assembly Hall. Amex Coal Company. Bet you never thought of us as a basketball power.
Wisconsin with a 3-point lead. The last time Wisconsin won was in 1980. That was at Wisconsin. It was a 52-50 victory. The last win for Wisconsin here at Assembly Hall, and they've had only 2 in Assembly Hall. The last win was in 1977, 66-64, and ironically, the other time that they won here was in 1972. Identical scores, 66-64, but that was in overtime. Chuck?
Well, there's nothing really on the X's and O's on the chalkboard that Coach can do really to improve this first half. It's just been a mental letdown on Indiana's part. They don't have intensity. They're not preventing anybody from getting to the offensive boards, and that's the reason Wisconsin didn't lead. So I'm sure in there right now, he's going over with them a positive mental attitude. He's got to come out here and erase that first half and mentally be prepared to go 20 minutes or Wisconsin's going to win this ball game.
Interesting halftime for you tonight as we continue with our halftime here at Assembly Hall. This game between Indiana and Wisconsin is being played at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. The score at halftime, the Badgers 34, the Hoosiers 31.
I know my business. And when that business needs a loan, I need a bank with a strong business profile. One that knows it sometimes takes money to spread your wings. And where I can rely on not just one business specialist, but a whole flock of them. I need American Fletcher.
AFNB, the money, the attitude, the team for corporate lending.
I took the business advantage.
The young lady for the tonsillectomy.
First time I was here, I was 10, and they took my tonsils out. Now I manage this hospital.
And for communications, I rely on GTE.
When we added this wing, our GTE account manager even helped us tie into nationwide medical data networks.
And GTE service is on tap 24 hours a day.
She's going to be fine.
Any messages?
Sure, on your terminal.
It takes a lot to satisfy us, but GTE does.
For young Wilbur Shaw, the Shelby County Fair was the event of the year.
Good luck, Wilbur.
We'll do our best. Right, Billy?
And the annual goat race was the highlight of the fair. From these humble beginnings, Wilbur Shaw went on to win the Indianapolis 500 race 3 times and distinguish himself as one of the greatest drivers in the history of auto racing.
I'm never going to give ground to anyone again.
Hey, you want to go get an ice cream cone?
Yeah.
Wilbur Shaw, another Indiana legend brought to you with pride by Farm Bureau Insurance.
This winter weather has not been all that good for skiers, but with snowmaking machines at Nashville and Paoli, and with our close proximity to the slopes in Michigan, many Hoosiers are having fun with this exciting sport that the whole family can enjoy. George Schmidt, a graduate student in exercise physiology in the IU School of Health, Physical Education, and Recreation, has some hints to make our skiing more fun and safer.
There are 2 types of skiing. Downhill skiing, known as alpine skiing, involves a coordinated movement down a hill. Cross-country skiing, on the other hand, is skiing across the country. This can be equivalent to a touring aspect, or a lot of people make it sound similar to a jogging or a running aspect. The main benefit of the cross-country skiing is that it involves the large muscle masses, and it is very good for the heart. Before you go out, you should prepare yourself physically, making sure that you're in good enough shape. You should start by a slow distance when you're cross-country skiing, not staying out full day if you are a downhill skier. Begin a little bit at a time, similarly to jogging. Increase your distance and your speed, and when you finish for the day, make sure that you've done an adequate warm down. Get yourself back inside. Be very careful of frostbite. The wind as you go down the hill is very strong. You've got a wind chill factor, and that can cause the tips of the fingers, the nose, and other extremities to get very cold. When you begin your ski program, make sure that you've got a competent instructor with you.
We'll have our sports profile with IU tennis player Reika Minoki in just 30 seconds. Minoki is a business major at IU. She's a sophomore, and she's on the women's tennis team.
I like to compete, and I like to compete on an individual basis. I prefer tennis because it's an individual sport, and I'm out there playing for myself and don't have to count on anyone, and no one has to count on me to perform, even though in a college situation it is a team sport in a way. I like the atmosphere of competing on the tennis court. I hate to lose, and I love to win. I love the feeling of winning, and a lot of times I get very frustrated if I lose, and I get down on myself. But that just motivates me more to work harder. After I finish college, I'm going to try for a while and play professional tennis. For at least a year, I have to give myself that chance, or else I'll never know if I could have made it or not. But if it doesn't work out after that, I'll pursue some kind of business career.
Spring will soon be here, and it'll be fun to get outside again on the tennis court. For IU Halftime, I'm Kit Field-Kruger.
At halftime here at Assembly Hall, it's the Wisconsin Badgers leading the Indiana Hoosiers by 3. Let's pause now to hear from our local stations. This is the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network.
Why shop all over town
for a good deal on a used car
when Dave McIntyre Chevrolet and Isuzu Center
keeps over 250 clean used cars and trucks in stock?
Priced from just $1,500 to $7,500.
And most people qualify for GMAC financing with just $240 down.
Shop the dealer who sells thousands of clean used cars and trucks. Dave McIntyre Chevrolet and Isuzu Center, your one-stop used car headquarters.
We found an increase in yield for the lasso-atrazine plot, and we were really surprised.
John Neidlinger will be using more pre-mixed lasso and atrazine in the future.
It opens up our eyes and gives us opportunities for us to cut our production costs.
Lasso or pre-mixed lasso and atrazine. Less stress, more yield.
I guess my philosophy is that the easiest way to cut our production costs is actually to increase our yield.
Okay, so you fixed up the kitchen, huh? Looks nice. But what about the rest of the house? Come on, the big sale's still going on. The once-a-year home remodeling sale at Furrow continues. Hurry! This peerless bath faucet only $25.88. A peerless kitchen faucet with spray just $36.99. The Kincaid tri-door tub enclosure now only $179.99, and others only $34.88. And there's much more. Get going and save at Furrow. Furrow.
They're waiting both teams. Still about 4 minutes from the tip-off of the second half. Statistically, John, it's another situation where Indiana finds itself on the short end in shooting and the short end on rebound.
Well, the big thing about the shooting, Chuck, is Wisconsin ranks 10th in the conference on field goal percentage for the defense, which they give up 55% as an average, and Indiana's just shooting 42%. Indiana's not shooting their free throws very well. Rod Ripley has 11 first-half rebounds of the 23 that Wisconsin has, so he's nearly equal to Indiana's output at 16. Not many turnovers and a lot of fouls on both teams. So the stat sheet, as usual, shows that Todd Meyer about the only guy doing anything for Indiana. He's 3 out of 4 from the field. He's got 3 rebounds and 8 points. He went the whole 20 minutes. So the story, the stats, is to Wisconsin's favor, even though they're only shooting 42%. But Indiana got to do a better job in that field goal percentage department.
Indiana's shooting coming into this game 53% in Big Ten play, 73% from the line, and 32.5 rebounds per game. We're looking at Wisconsin. They're back on the court now, and the statistics for Wisconsin bearing out just what you said. On the season, they're 49% from the field, 73% from the line, and about 33% in rebounds.
One bright
33 rebounds.
Bright spot for Indiana is the job that defensively has been done on Rick Olson. He's 3 out of 7 from the field with 6 points. He's 6th in the conference in scoring. So Winston Morgan and looked like Todd Meyer was on him there for a little bit. At least they've kept him down. He's got 3 fouls. So I think it'll be important to watch the rebounding in the second half, and also the foul situation. Those teams with 13 fouls, see who commits the most fouls. Are going to have to use some substitutes off the bench.
Well, as you already pointed out, Darrell Thomas on the bench and Winston Morgan on the bench as we ended the first half with 3 personals each. And Wisconsin likewise has 2, J.J. Weber and Rick Olson, each with 3. 2 for Steinhaus, 2 for Molaski as well, and the Hoosiers with a couple in the 2 category. Todd Meyer has 2, and Andre Harris has 2, but he hasn't played very much. Harris has not. Okay, we're still waiting for Indiana to come back. I imagine that's an interesting little halftime that maybe a mouse would like to be hearing right now. And we will be back. Stay tuned for a second half action. We'll return right after these messages.
I've always been able to tell the stage my husband's going through by the kind of car he drives. First, it was the anti-establishment phase. Then, the family man. Next, climbing the corporate ladder. Lots of different cars, lots of different lifestyles. But every car we've owned has been protected by Farm Bureau Insurance.
Hey, baby, what do you think?
I think they call this the midlife crisis.
This bud's for all that you do.
Carlos, I need 100 of these by Friday.
My friend, I'm retired. My son is running the business now.
You know just where you're going. It's true, your pride is showing, cause you make America work, and this bud's for you.
Here's to you.
Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
This year, take dead aim against velvet leaf and corn. Blast triazine-resistant weeds, too, with new Marksman herbicide, the only herbicide you need for full-season control of broadleaves and corn. New Marksman herbicide, so effective it's guaranteed. Marksman herbicide, because you can't afford to miss.
You know why I come to CarQuest Auto Parts stores? This man, the CarQuest Qualified Counterman. He's got hundreds of thousands of parts, and I can't tell you how often he's helped me out.
CarQuest can help with a full line of Borg-Warner carb kits, carburetor and emission control parts, and clutches. Get original equipment quality and performance with Borg-Warner at CarQuest.
I go to CarQuest, because sometimes you need all the help you can get.
CarQuest, the right place to buy auto parts.
Bloomington invites you to break away.
Break away. Break away. Break away. Break away.
Break away to Bloomington.
Pass along a couple of scores. Michigan State leads Illinois 39-29 with 7:16 to play in the first half. We're trying to get a score in the Davidson-Tennessee-Chattanooga game. Just to check on comparative performances, if we can, of Chris Heineman and Mike Heineman. Mike, of course, playing for Wisconsin, and Chris is a starter on the Davidson team down in South Carolina.
A couple of things to watch here early in the half, Chuck, is to see how well Indiana comes out in their intensity. You can judge this by how well they block out, how well they go after offensive rebounds, how well they execute their offense, whether or not they let a pass come into the low post for Wisconsin. These are all things that you can get done, not really with physical ability, but with mental preparedness. And you see Coach going into the huddle now, trying to tell the players to get into the ball game mentally. I think it'll be evident as we watch these first couple minutes of the half.
Coach's image since a year ago in the Purdue game here has changed from coat and tie to sweater, and has maintained that for just about a year now. There's Steve Yoder, his overall record, which includes his tenure at Ball State, Muncie, Indiana. Indiana with the ball to start the second half. It's going to be Callaway, Morgan, Thomas, Meyer, and Alford for the Hoosiers. Defensively, we'll pick them up. Olson, Steinhaus, 42. And off the front of the rim, Callaway shot is short. Ripley, number 42. Heineman, number 10. And 40, J.J. Weber. Wisconsin with the lead. 34-31, a chance to extend. It's off the side of the rim, and Morgan comes up with the ball off the side of the board. Here comes Wilson. Thomas to the glass, but he's fouled.
Dale Thomas with the good play on the defensive end that time as he came over to help on Rick Olson. Deflected that shot a little bit, and right down here on the offense, he takes the ball up strong. You see J.J. Weber making his case with the official because that's his fourth personal foul. So the foul trouble, not even a minute into the half, Wisconsin's going to have to make a substitution.
Yoder goes to the bench as Thomas. Everybody's short tonight. I don't think Indiana has had a shot except Thomas's last effort off the glass just a minute ago. That's been long.
Some of that might be concentration, Chuck, and some of it may be that flu bug still kind of lingering on there. Tim Garl said that the flu really hit the starting five more than it did the reserve players for Indiana. So I'm not quite sure what it might be, but the players have got to understand that the ball's short. They got to put a little more oomph on that shot to make it fall.
Thomas is averaging 15.2 points per game. He has but 3. Here's a little back cut, and the shot by Heineman is good. Indiana caught sleeping.
Alford and Heineman, of course, had some great battles in high school when Newcastle played Connersville. They're reliving another one today.
They double Alford. There's the drive, and it comes up short, up and off the glass by Thomas. He has 5. I think Callaway's short shots are excusable. He's just not getting enough spring in his leg, which is part of it. Offensive foul that goes against Heineman. Indiana denying. Now, this is what happened in the first half. They denied the cut across the lane, and they were called for the block. Indiana was now. And the first call, as the cut is denied across the lane, it goes against Wisconsin. 36-34, Hoosiers with a chance to tie. We played a minute and a half. And there's the turnover. Little shuffle of the feet. Winston looks at the bench, no reaction. But you can see Winston disturbed. 36-34. Wisconsin tries to set it. Good motion with the ball. Olsen from outside, and that's good range for Rick Olsen. He has 8.
Wisconsin just doing the things right that they have to hold that 4-point lead. That's a tough shot at about 19 feet. Olsen didn't have a lot of time to get ready.
Steps up off the glass and good. This time Callaway gets up.
Now, one thing a player can do, Chuck, when he knows that shot's falling short, is shoot off the dribble, because your momentum can lift you off the ground a little more, and that gives you that extra couple inches you might need to get the ball over the front of the ring.
They jammed up across the top, and a foul, and that's going to go against Heineman. Heineman and Steinhaus ran into each other, and Morgan just alertly went right back with the ball.
2 quick fouls on Heineman. That gives him 3. He likes to play that aggressive style of game, so he may have to be careful out there also.
Now you watch it as from this camera angle, Indiana will try to set offense to tie this game, trailing 38-36. Free throw line, and it's short. Back for the ball. Rick Olsen gets his hands on it, protects it well. Look at the turnovers. Wisconsin 2 already this half. Indiana but 1. Olsen drives. Callaway gets an arm. And is called for the foul. His first.
Rick Olsen using that quick first step to get around Callaway. We've seen Rick miss 2 or 3 shots short. He's going to come out of the ball game. Stu Robinson back in. Something Tim Garl talked to me about before the game today, Chuck, was his job is to watch the players on the floor as far as their conditioning, whether they get injured or not. And if he feels that a player shouldn't be in the ball game, he'll motion over to coach that maybe somebody needs a rest or that this guy should be taken out of the ball game. So he's looking at a completely different aspect of the game.
There's a little bit more hustle by Molaski than Meyer that time, and once again, Wisconsin with a chance. They lead by 2, and they want to extend that lead. Inside it goes. Oh, it turns it around and lays it up off the glass, and a good shot. There's a rebound. Heineman gets the first effort. Steinhaus gets the rebound and the basket. 40-36. Indiana trailed 34-31 at halftime. Inside, the basket will count. A foul, and that goes against Olsen. London Bradley makes the call. It is Olsen.
That's a big play right there, because that'll put the 4th foul on Olsen and give Winston a chance for a 3-point play. So this is the intensity I talked about. Winston made a second good play here. He drives through the gap and makes the shot.
Courtney Whitty for Indiana, replacing Meyer. Winston with 9 points. No, it just won't fall. Whitty gets the board. Back up and good.
Good effort by Courtney Whitty.
16 minutes remaining. Indiana has tied this game at 40. Molaski inside, and oh, that was a great shot by Rod Ripley. Good motion by Indiana. Alford, his first shot, second half. Tied at 42. Heineman goes up. He's hammered. And Whitty, I believe, got an arm on him. That'll send Mike to the line shooting. Leshevsky back in the lineup for Wisconsin. We've lost John's audio just momentarily. We'll be picking him back up in just a moment. At the line is Mike Heineman. He'll be shooting 2.
Talked about that foul trouble, Chuck, and as you see, Olson's going to go to the bench now because he just can't be effective on defense with 4 fouls in there.
Heineman hits both, and we have a timeout with 15:26 left to play. You're watching Indiana basketball at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. Wisconsin leads Indiana 44-42.
You're shaving with coal.
Coal? I'm shaving with my electric razor.
And it takes coal to produce that electricity.
Never thought of it like that.
Coal generates more than half the electricity in the United States. It takes coal to fix your breakfast, tune in, and turn on. In fact, on the average, every American uses 3 tons of coal each year. Amex Coal Company, powering your world.
How did you get way out here?
That baby will go anywhere.
Got it insured?
Got Farm Bureau auto insurance.
Good. Now, how about life insurance?
I can take care of myself.
Okay, but life insurance is a good way to protect your family.
Wait, do you hear something?
I don't hear anything.
Farm Bureau for auto insurance, Farm Bureau for life insurance. The same agent handles both.
Well, it could have been bears.
You look at the Wisconsin bench as Steve Yoder, with his squad holding a 2-point lead, just concludes that timeout. And what kind of strategies would you use with 15.5 remaining, John?
Well, Steve Yoder's got to be pretty pleased with what his team's done, except for that foul trouble. Indiana's picked up the tempo a little bit. They're shooting better, 5 out of 8 at 62%. They have Wisconsin's 4 of 7 at 57.
Alford just in front of the line. He scores.
And Steve Alford's got to become more involved in the offense. That's his second jump shot here in the second half. He's got to look more for a shot with the Indiana big people in foul trouble.
Steve's leading scorer for both teams. Inside, and it won't fall. The rebound goes to Whitty. Leshevsky's shot is just a little bit too hard. Kick. And Indiana will control. Tied at 44. Indiana led by as many as 4, 2 times in the first half. Again, it's a complacent crowd tonight, but not a lot to cheer about. And the shot is up. Thomas gets it back. And a hole. It'll go against Wisconsin. That will be Ripley's second as he and Thomas battle for the ball. That is the 5th foul against Wisconsin in the second half. Now, that's important.
Yeah, that means the Indiana's going to get to go to the free throw line on that 1-and-1 soon. Now, Darrell did a good job of hustling for the ball, but really just kind of threw that first shot up there. Not much chance of that going in. But he did stay after it. Again, that's intensity.
Drops it off, Morgan. And over the back goes Whitty. He was screened from the ball by Ripley. Whitty picks up the first one.
That's about the only job Courtney has out there. He's got to try to get those rebounds, and he has. He's got that offensive rebound he put back in. He got the last defensive rebound. He's got to stay with his man, but he could be a big help on the board.
Pulaski to Ripley. Leshevsky. Now Steinhaus. It won't fall. Big board again. So Courtney doing his job at the defensive end, inside, and taken away. Alford tried to force it up. It's going to be Heineman on the break. Mike Heineman has 10. The junior from Wisconsin averaging 9.3 points per game.
Steve tried to create something that time, but he left his feet before he knew who he was going to pass the ball to, and that's the reason the turnover was called.
Comes back, takes the feed, hits it from about 19 feet.
Good play, though, as he makes up for a mistake as he comes right down and gets that basket to tie the score.
We are nearing the 13.5-minute mark, tied at 46. Oh, boy. Rod Ripley, he is over his average with 10. Ripley, a 54% shooter, and a lot of them are like that. Outside shots. Inside, Thomas. Offense, no. Travel. Travel against Darrell.
Well, not much of a lane there to get that pass through. An excellent pass by Stu, but in so doing, Darrell shuffled those feet, so that's traveling.
Third against Indiana, only 2 against Wisconsin in this second half. Good job of maintaining control by Molaski. And Alford comes up with the steal. Here's a lead up court to Whitty. And a foul.
Unusual to see the big center down leading the fast break, but Woody found himself all alone. A good pass by Steve. As they scramble for the ball, Steve looks right up the floor. And Courtney does a good job just trying to control that ball, and that's the way Heineman's going to play. He's going to keep coming after you, and he ends up in the first row of the bleachers. That's his 4th foul.
Courtney with 2. And gets the fall of the ball.
We saw Andre Harris come in late in that first half and do the job. Now it's Courtney Whitty with the rebounds and a basket, now a free throw. So give Courtney some credit in helping this Indiana cause today.
Olsen for Heineman. As Wisconsin puts Olsen back in with 4 personal fouls, Heineman has 4. And that's 4 points for Whitty. We're tied at 48. Inside the 13-minute mark, 12:49 left to be played. Thomas with a near steal. Molaski trying to set the offense. A little give and go. Won't fall. Alford fires and hits. No one under the basket. Whitty is breaking on the help side of the floor, but I tell you, Steve must have felt it.
Well, that's a tough shot because he reached back to grab that ball with his left hand and took one dribble in the shot. Timeout.
We're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana has taken the lead, 50-48.
Opportunity only knocks once. And when it knocked at my door, I needed a loan to answer. So I looked to the bank that makes it easy to get a loan. The one that offers more lending choices than anybody. To loan me what I need in a way that's easy to handle. I look to American Fletcher.
AFNB. Get the right loan for the right reason right away.
I got the loan advantage.
Your Indiana Ford dealer invites you to the premier event of the car buying season. Their February inventory tax sales event.
And the stars are out. Here's the car for our time, Tempo.
See Thunderbird like you've never seen it before.
And now get 7.9% plus on both. That's right, 7.9 annual percentage rate financing on new Ford Tempos and 85 and 86 V6 Thunderbirds. See the exciting lineup of cars and trucks at your Indiana Ford dealer today.
Well, the crowd back in it with 12:18 to play. Indiana's first lead, Chuck, of the second half at 50-48. We've had 15 ties and 8 lead changes in this closely contested Big Ten ball game.
Wisconsin in foul trouble. Weber, Heineman, and Olsen each with 4. It comes in to Steinhaus. Number 44 waits until Olsen gets across the line. At the 12-minute mark. Rod Ripley back to Steinhaus. Loses Whitty, will fire. It doesn't fall. Tipped up and saved by Thomas to Robinson. Rick Olsen has just fouled out.
If he has, Chuck, Stu Robinson made a great play that time on the fast break. A lot of times a player will think more about stopping the play than realize he's got 4 fouls. So Robinson takes advantage of that situation makes the contact with Olson, and the call does go against Olson, so he's fouled out of the ball game. He's got Courtney open on the right, but Stu sees the contact going to be made here and draws the 5th foul on Olson, and that's a lot of Wisconsin offense now on the bench. The substitution is Mike Heineman, and he's also got 4 fouls, so Wisconsin's got to be careful. There's a good look at Rick.
Olson sits down at the 11:58 mark. He averages 17.6 points per game. So we're rattling them. I say we, Indiana. I had somebody call me the other day. You know, we do so many games, and obviously for Indiana, we have a tendency to say we as well. But Indiana's rattling a lot of these free throws. As long as they fall, I guess that's all right. First 2 points for Stu. Now Heineman averaging 9.3 with 4 personal fouls. Is going to have to watch how he plays, or Wisconsin's going to be left without a guard. And just letting Mulaski inside is a liability against the Hoosiers there. The 6'6" freshman from Grafton, Wisconsin, gets his first field goal. Robinson from outside. Hoosiers seem to be loosening up a little bit.
Yep, Stu's hitting from the outside. The crowd yelling Stu. You can hear him in the background. Really helps Indiana.
Lechewski. Heineman's down on the floor. He seems to be all right. He plays with a bad back. And if you remember last year when Indiana was up there, he had a thigh bruise and a bad back. There's a good shot by 44 Steinhaus. He has 10 points. 54-52. Hoosiers can't pull away. Drops it off Whitty, makes the fake, puts it up and good. That's an over-the-head bank shot, and that takes a lot of strength.
Now Winston was going to go with that shot, and Whitty did the right thing. He saw his open, so he waved his arm. And Winston just caught him out of the corner of his eye, and then the shot fake leads to the basket.
56-52 Indiana. Turnaround by Heineman. It's short. Here's the rebound. Indiana with a 3-on-1. And up and good. Reverse layup by Stu as Heineman had to lay off.
All right, same situation, Chuck, as Stu realized that Heineman has 4. He may want to think about dropping that pass off, but then he sees it's Heineman, drives all the way to basket. Heineman had to let him go.
We have a timeout with 10:15 remaining in this game. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana has taken a lead, 58-52.
Give me a light. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer...
Hey, can I have a light?
Whoa! You never know what you'll get.
Give me a light.
Bud Light. So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
I'll never forget the day we moved into our first home.
What a day.
All we really had was a watercolor that we got on our honeymoon.
The fireplace.
Well, we've lived in lots of different houses since then, but they've had one thing in common. They've all been protected by a homeowner's policy from Farm Bureau Insurance.
Over the fireplace.
Oh. Actually, they've had 2 things in common.
10 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the second half of tonight's ball game. Indiana with its biggest lead in the contest and shooting 11 of 17, Chuck, 65%. Wisconsin 8 of 16 in foul trouble, as you suggested. Indiana taking advantage of the boards this half, out rebounding Wisconsin 11-4.
Tom Mulaski comes to the ball. Alford is playing off him. Indiana, as we have indicated before for some of the people watching us on satellite, has yet to commit a foul by any of the players committing fouls in the first half. Heineman trying to look inside. Mulaski comes right into the pack. Took it right inside. No good. Whitty gets the ball. We have jump ball, and it goes to Wisconsin. That's good effort by Courtney.
Stu stopped that time at the free throw line, and he should have realized Heineman was the only Wisconsin player back for defense and made some kind of contact with him, because that would have been Heineman's 5th.
Wisconsin is over the limit. Any foul by the University. Here's a steal by Morgan. He's going to solo this effort as Lechewski, or Steinhaus steps in front of him, but it's good slam dunk by Winston Morgan. Winston in double figures. He has 11.
He's also got 6 rebounds and 5 assists to go with 4 steals. So Winston's really come on in the second half.
Inside, and it's Weber before the shot. Foul on Whitty, his 3rd.
Well, that's a good foul right there because Wisconsin had inside position. This ball should go out of bounds to Wisconsin because it's only Indiana's 4th foul. Look how he gets out of position here, but makes the contact. Indiana not helping on the defense that time. It is out of bounds to Wisconsin, so he saved 2 points that time.
Ripley makes the save. Back to Heineman. Well, that should have been travel. No call. Indiana's defense just a little bit more accurate, a little tighter on the inside. Here's, just as I say that, J.J. Weber going up for his first basket, second half.
And the guards are helping back in to slap the ball away. Winston made a steal. Stu knocked the ball loose there, but it went right into Wisconsin hands.
Oh, there's a step 2. I didn't see that alley at all. Alford pops it from the top for his 17th point. That is a difficult pass against the 2-3 zone, and yet if you look at it really, John, if the zone is tight, low, and high, the pass is there.
There's going to be a little alley there, and the bounce pass is the one to get through there because the player's got to reach down on the floor to make the steal.
62-54 Indiana with 8:05 left to play. Steinhaus. Oh, that's good effort by Mike Heineman. Mike with a dozen. Just played the ball, held his position, and scored. Thomas has it taken away. And now Heineman slows it up. It looks like Heineman's sort of running out of gas a little bit.
He's been hitting the ground, too, Chuck. He may have a few bruises.
Won't call. Steinhaus has it knocked out of his hands and a foul. That'll go against Morgan. And then on Winston, that is his 4th.
Now watch number 10 in the red. That's Heineman. He's scraping away for the ball, and as he goes up, he comes in with Winston and hits down on the floor. This foul goes against Indiana, but in the act of shooting, so it's 2 shots for Steinhaus.
6'8" senior from Portage, Wisconsin, with his 12th point. And adds another one. He has 13. He's perfect from the stripe. 4 for 4 tonight. 7:25 remaining, and it's 62-58 Indiana. Thomas. Oh, he got a break on that. That ball was headed to the outside of the lip. Might have had a little spin on it. Mike Heineman. With Connersville state champions a few years ago. Inside and good. Indiana got turned away from the ball that time, and Ripley scored.
See how easy it is for Wisconsin to score when they get that ball inside. And you're right, Chuck. Indiana had been doing a good job, but in the last minute or so, Wisconsin's got the ball inside too easily.
Robinson. Thomas comes back for the ball, taken away. And Tom Molaski for the Badgers works it across the line. Now Wisconsin has a chance to pull back to within 2. They're doing a good job of getting it into the post. It's not going to go. Well, they let him play underneath. There had to be a foul someplace there on Indiana, but no call. Alford thought twice of that shot, and it won't go. Now, the Hoosiers are not playing patient with the ball now.
Now, Steve made a good play there by dishing to Stu, but as soon as he did, he was wide open again. So Stu had the choice of passing that ball to Steve or taking the shot. Usually Stu's good at that shot, but missed that time.
Steal by Thomas and a foul. That's going to be on Steinhaus. And let's check. Well, they called that apparently on Heineman. Heineman and Steinhaus both there.
It's going to be 5 on Heineman, and now he's out of the ball game.
That's a costly foul against Wisconsin. And Mike comes over. There's a good tribute between Mike and Bob Knight. Coach shakes his hand, and Mike just sort of shakes his head just a little bit. There it is. You're right.
There's the contact with the right arm, and the official right at half-court line makes the call. Leszewski, 6'8", 220, comes in lineup for Heineman. So Wisconsin with a very big lineup in there, with Olsen and Heineman, both their guards fouling out.
And Morgan has just fouled out for Indiana. No time ticks off the clock, and Morgan will sit down with at the 5:50 mark for Indiana. That brings back in Rick Callaway. And we have timeout. And still no time off the clock. 5:50 left to play. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. Indiana by 4, 64-60.
Come on, we got to get going.
Give me your car keys.
What?
Give me your car keys. I'm driving.
Relax, will ya? I'm okay.
And how come you're slurring my words?
Oh, sorry.
A guy your size is legally drunk after a few beers.
What about a guy your size?
One beer and I'm stiff as a board.
So that's why you only had a soft drink, huh?
That's right. You gotta drive, don't drink.
You want to know something?
What's that?
You're pretty smart.
Yeah.
For a dummy.
This message brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance and your Indiana State Police.
It's like working in a jungle, trying to do business in today's communication environment. It's easy to get tangled up in technology. Analog, digital, voice, and data. Computers and people all trying to make contact at the same time. Indiana Bell can lead you out of this jungle with digital line services for your voice and data needs. Civilize your business communications with digital transport services. Indiana Bell, helping you communicate.
Looking into the huddle, around that Indiana huddle, Tommy Abernathy standing with his back to the court. Quinn Buckner is down there as well. Quinn dressed in a gray sweater with a maroon collar over here next to the timing and scores bench. Abernathy in his blue businessman suit.
Here's the Wisconsin bench. Steve Yoder and his assistants all with Indiana backgrounds. Rick Bowen, the former governor's son. Brad McNulty from Kokomo, and Ray McCallum, a great star at Ball State.
5:42 left to play. Indiana by 4. And what do we have? A pushing foul goes against Wisconsin. That would be on Rod Ripley, his third, and with Wisconsin over the limit, Bill Boba making the call is Sid Rodeheffer. Phil Boba feeds the ball up court to London Bradley, and that's going to put Steve Alford at the line shooting.
Ball comes loose on the side. Just both players going after it, but Alford had the lane to the ball. The contact came from behind.
Oh, I can't believe that. He's missed 2 tonight. 1 for 3 for Steve from the stripe. 64-60. Molaski. J.J. Weber. And he turns it over. Now Indiana with a chance to extend the lead. John, I would say, just objectively, Indiana's biggest asset right now would be to maintain composure.
Exactly. Maybe run some time off that clock. It's only a 4-point game, though, and those can turn very quickly.
Thomas. That's a good turnaround post by Thomas on the baseline.
They look for that shot inside, and Darrell makes the good baseline shot to make it 6 points. So Indiana can be cautious at this point, but still has to attack the basket.
Lasky tries to take it inside. He does, and he scores. Tom, the freshman from Grafton, Wisconsin, only averages around 3 points, 2.8. But he has 4 tonight. 4.5 minutes, 4:35 to be exact, remain in this game. There's a steal, Molaski, and a foul that goes on Robinson, as Indiana's passing game is just not sharp.
That pass shouldn't have been thrown. Wisconsin with the hand in the lane that time. Stu has to commit the foul to prevent the layup, and that's the 7th team foul. So Wisconsin will be at the line with a 1-and-1.
Now both teams in the bonus, so the free throw situation becomes all the more important. Wisconsin now 5 out of 5 in this half.
This is that one. And the rebound to Callaway. A 3-point Indiana lead with 4:23 remaining. Alford steps up this time. He scores. Now that's just a good combination between the guards, Robinson and Alford.
Good lead pass that time. Steve gets his feet under him.
68-63 Indiana. Knocked away by Callaway. Rick is just a step off, and that has to be his stamina right now.
Still, though, a good deflection with the ball out of bounds.
The freshman works on the junior. Leshevsky with the turnaround, and Whitty has it knocked out of his hand. That's saved by Robinson. Courtney's played a pretty good job. He's done a good job with fundamentals on blockout. And he gives Indiana new life with the ball. Robinson. Clock running, 3:34 left in this game. Alford with the fake, steps in, squares, back to Callaway, off the glass. We don't care, do we?
Well, that's a good pass. I don't know if Rick meant to shoot that ball off the glass because he's had trouble with that ball falling short. He may decide to try that. Maybe a little more margin for error off the glass.
Steinhaus, it doesn't fall. Alford's fouled as he pulls it down. Misses the shot, tipped up, no foul. A lot of contact underneath. Here comes Wisconsin. Good finger roll by Tom Molaski.
Great play there and a big turnaround as Indiana misses a chance on the fast break. Wisconsin with Molaski comes right down. And now a block.
That was tied on the board. No call. And Bob Knight not protesting. So apparently the hand on the block was before it went to the board. Officials were there to make their judgment on the call. Joe Boba, London Bradley, and Sid Rodehever. 38 seconds on the shot clock. Never been a factor in this game. Callaway pulls it back out now with 2:21 remaining to be played. Off to Rick and tries to work it out. Step in by Robinson. And it goes. Carroll gets the roll. And Jay Leshevsky commits his first foul.
Stu Robinson with the big play there as he penetrates in to the lane. His 6th assist of the ball game as he gets through 2 players. He knows there's a mismatch. And Daryl Thomas makes a tough shot there as he has to use his left hand to protect against that ball being blocked.
We have a timeout with 2:11 remaining. You're watching Indiana basketball on the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network. It's Indiana by 7, 72-65.
I know it hurts. And right now it might be hard to understand. The scoreboard might not say so. But you won tonight. And you won something far more important than just a game. So I just saw a bunch of my kids play their hearts out for 32 minutes. You gave it everything. You didn't hold back. That's desire, pride, personal achievement. You measure these things on a different kind of scoreboard. You measure these things right here, where it counts. These are the victories we won tonight. These are the reasons we play the game.
Hooks believes there's more to sports than just good health. The lessons we learn from athletics last a lifetime.
Well, the composure of the crowd really hasn't changed very much here at Assembly Hall, except to say that the fans probably are just a little more relaxed, although this game still isn't out of reach. It will be Daryl Thomas at the line. The reason why we say that, this has been an unusual day weather-wise here in Indianapolis and in Bloomington. It started out with no rain. The temperature began to drop a little bit. Callaway gets the ball and back to Thomas, and Indiana controls. And then we understand while we've been on the air that it's really snowing hard in the Hoosier capital. So a lot of these fans going back to Indianapolis might have some driving problems. We had rain this afternoon as well.
Big play there as Indiana comes over the rebound on the free throw, now just running some time off the shot clock.
One of the reasons why I say all that is that may have some sort of bearing on how the fans react. Alford inside. Again squares. 2 more. He has 21.
A slow start as he only had 7 at the half. He's come on here in the second half when Indiana needed him.
Just about the time we were ready to say that's Indiana's largest lead. Mulaski hits for his 9th point. 74-67 and a foul. That will go against Mulaski, his 3rd.
Personal foul, Wisconsin, number 13, Mulaski, his 3rd personal.
Stu bringing the ball down, and Wisconsin's got to try to force some things here. There he makes the contact, trying to make the steal.
With 1:20 remaining, Robinson hits the first of a 1-and-1. Indiana with 3 players in double figures. Alford with 19, 21, Morgan with 11, and Thomas with 11. And he gets the second one. He has 8. Now Wisconsin desperately tries to force its way back into this game. Tipped out of the hands of Whitty. Back to J.J. Weber. Whitty gets his hands on it this time. Held his ground. Comes up with the ball. Whitty's a 5-year senior. He's a junior college transfer. Redshirted last year. And having his opportunity to play out his collegiate career with the Hoosiers. Nephew of Jerry Memmering. And you played some ball with him, John.
He's really made the difference, Chuck. He came off that bench and got the big rebounds. Another one down the floor that time. He's got 5 for the ball game, and he made a couple big baskets and free throws. So he's the guy that ignited the Indiana team today.
Steinhaus attempts to get in on the ball and fouls Alford, who will go to the line with 1-and-1. 14:30 left. Illinois has pulled back to trail Michigan State 59-57. They're playing that game at Champaign, so that's going to surprise Michigan State in the lead there.
Steve looks like he's back on his form now.
Yeah, but he's only 2 for 4.
Just 81% there. That'll go down a little bit after today's game.
23 points for Steve. He's over his average, 22.6. 78-67. Weber makes the move, makes the save. Into Steinhaus off the glass. Leszewski tries to follow. Knocked away. Ripley goes for the ball. And give the 2 to Tom Mulaski, who's been the difference. 11 points all in the second half. With 11 seconds, 10 seconds, Indiana's going to pull off its 7th win of the Big Ten season against 3 losses. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that's it. Final score, Indiana 78, Wisconsin 69, a 9-point win. That certainly belies about 17 minutes of this second half and 20 minutes of the first half, and the performances of the Hoosiers against a very tenacious Badger team. We'll be back to check on the scoring and review tonight's game in just a minute.
Red-tailed hawk? This belongs to a golden eagle. Come along, Mr. Porter. Cannot continue. In every aspect, the Limberlost was a treacherous swamp. And the terrain beyond it was rugged, filled with every animal and human danger known in the Central States. But despite all the obstacles, we finally discovered the treasure we'd been searching for.
Author, photographer, friend of the outdoors, Gene Stratton Porter, another Indiana legend brought to you with pride by Farm Bureau Insurance.
9-point Indiana wins 78-69. And looking down, total team efforts, once again, John, Indiana had to rely on Steve Alford with his outside shooting and some good post work around some picks inside, but it was just individual effort in the second half when he finally came to life for 23 points.
Finally start getting that shot. But, Chuck, as I mentioned at halftime, the big thing was the mental part of the ball game. Indiana did not come out well early in the ball game, and Wisconsin, of course, has that three-point lead. So it's up to the team to regroup at halftime. Forget about the X's and O's. It's the attitude that becomes an important part of the ball game, and it was Courtney Whitty who sparked that little effort by going after some rebounds, and then Steve finally got in his range with that jump shot and started to make it. So the only good thing you can say about the game is, although the team wasn't really ready mentally, they're still able to pull off the victory. The thing to learn from it is you got a ball game coming here on Saturday against Northwestern. Indiana played very well up at Evanston and beat Northwestern soundly. Are you going to come out here with the same tenacity you did up there, or are you going to come out like you did today and get a chance to get beat? So the thing to learn here is don't come out of a ball game flat, because Wisconsin or Northwestern can beat you.
This is an interesting point that you've made, because if you remember last Thursday at Iowa, this is basically the same way. Indiana was very lethargic against the pressure and the trap against Iowa. They lose that game. They go over to Minnesota, and they come up against a team that is really rebuilt, restructured around basically only 2 starters. They have 6 from the team and 4 that they added to the team from the football squad. And yet they come out and play with a lot of pride. Well, and Indiana has a very hard time taking it at them that way.
All right, one thing about the Minnesota game, it looked like Minnesota just kind of wore down there at the end, as you say. But the one thing about Indiana is they're always in good condition, even with the flu. You can see it bother a few players on their shots, but you always try to be in better condition than your opponent. Minnesota, they just wore down at the end and were able to come back. And maybe here a little against Wisconsin, they got in some foul trouble, and Indiana had some strength left to pull the game out of the end. So not a real pretty victory, but again, they held on long enough to win the ball game by 9.
John, hang on just a minute. Let's spend a little time and talk about what's going to come up Saturday. We've already talked about Northwestern coming here. Now, here are the teams and where they are playing. We have a close one at Illinois tonight between Michigan State and Illinois. Michigan State will move on to play Purdue. That's a big contest. And then Wisconsin moves over to Ohio State. Now, Ohio State is in the throes of a change over there. Eldon Miller has announced that this is his last year. That's been announced publicly by both the athletic department and by Eldon. Northwestern here, as I said, and this is a team that Indiana handled quite well. But we're looking at teams that save Michigan, Illinois contest, virtually anything can happen. No one has really taken charge.
Well, we saw a trend in the Big Ten early that the visiting teams are winning their share of the ball games, and then as the first half of the season went by, the home team started taking control. And as I look at the remainder of the Big Ten schedule, this is the halfway point where things flop. Michigan, Illinois, and Purdue really have the good home games. They're playing all their tough games at home, whereas Iowa and Indiana are playing a lot of tough games on the road. So
5 of our last 7.
Exactly. So you see Michigan on the top, and they've played a lot of road games. So I would say the schedule really favors them, whereas Indiana's got to go on the road. It's going to be tough for them to stay pace with this Michigan Wolverine team.
We're going to be back in just a minute. Joe Smith as former Sports Information Director Tom Miller at courtside, and we'll continue with our post-game show after we hear from our local stations. This is the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network.
Give me a light.
No. Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Thanks.
you never know what you'll get.
Nah. Give me a light. No, Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
I opened my IRA for the tax break, but now I want more. I'll only get it from a bank, and one that knows how much I need my nest egg. One that offers me a choice of IRA options to help me grow strong and pays high interest that goes even higher as my IRA takes off. I'll only get it from American Fletcher.
AFNB, smarter IRAs for smarter people.
I transferred for the IRA Advantage.
Without Amex Coal, practice would be over. It takes coal to produce the electricity that lights basketball courts all the way from backyards to the NBA. Amex Coal Company. Bet you never thought of us as a basketball power.
Get tough weeds like you never got them before. Get pigweed, fall panicum, even black nightshade. With Lasso Microtech. Advanced technology for improved performance. Lasso Microtech. Billions of droplets of Lasso are encased in microscopic capsules to give you that extra power against the tough weeds you worry about most. Lasso Microtech. Advanced herbicide performance.
78-69, Indiana wins it. Alongside of me, Tom Miller, the longtime, now retired sports information director, some 36 years, but now instead of working a row above us, Tom, you're enjoying it as a fan.
I'm out there making a fool out of myself like all these fans. It's amazing, Joe, how well you can officiate from those seats.
How's the retirement coming in the last couple of years?
Great, I love it. I love staying close to this, of course.
What do you look for now as a fan? I know it was a little quiet in the stands when Wisconsin comes to town. Northwestern's another example, but the crowd really got into it there in the second half.
Yeah, I think the game picked him up. Bobby's had to play this squad like an artist. He has to pick and choose and that. And it's a lot of fun watching this thing work from the sideline.
Happy birthday today, Tom, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Tom Miller, back to you, Chuck.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. Once again, final score 78-69. John will take this opportunity to wish you good luck in your game over to Ohio State as the Badgers move over there. Steve Green will be joining us courtside here at Assembly Hall to call that contest, and we hope to have all you fans with us then. Any reproduction of this telecast is strictly forbidden without the express written permission of WTTV and Indiana University, which also has approval of the announcers used in this telecast. And now this is Chuck Marlowe speaking to you for John Laskowski and Joe Smith from Assembly Hall, inviting you to join us here once again this coming Saturday night at 7:30. Mark that time, 7:30, when Indiana meets the Northwestern Wildcats. Until then, so long, everybody.
Been watching Indiana University basketball, brought to you for the 14th consecutive year by Farm Bureau Insurance and its nearly 700 agents throughout the state of Indiana. By American Fletcher National Bank, where the advantage is yours. By your Hooks Dependable Drugstores, we like to see you smile. By the men and women of Amex Coal Company, a division of Amex Incorporated, a worldwide energy and minerals company. By Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. This telecast was produced through the facilities of WTTV in Indianapolis. Network arrangements by Broadcast Communications Incorporated. This is the Farm Bureau Insurance Basketball Network.
Indiana National, on the subject of choices. When you have a lot of choices, it's a lot easier to make better choices. Indiana National gives you the most and best possible choices because we have more quality products and services than any other bank around, so that you can design the plan that fits your financial picture perfectly. Indiana National. More for your money.
After premixed Lasso and Atrazine won Jim Sefton's on-farm yield test, he switched herbicides.
Lasso Atrazine yielded 6.3 bushel more to the acres. I mean, that's just like if you were raising hogs as we do, and that sow raises one more pig above the national average. I mean, that's pretty well all gravy, you know.
Lasso or premixed Lasso and Atrazine. Less stress, more yield.
This year, it could very well be a difference between profit and loss because we're in a tight squeeze.
Introducing the all-new Toyota Workforce, the who's who in trucks. A 1 ton with more payload than any small truck. A cargo van that's like having a warehouse on wheels. A standard bed you can afford with all the features you'll ever need. And with over 95% of all Toyota trucks ever sold still working, you know the Force will be with you for a long time.
Everything he ever loved, they destroyed. But they made a mistake.
his turn. One man against many. You'll die tonight! They'll need some help. Mark Singer, Tanya Roberts. A television premiere, The Beastmaster.
Friday on the Indiana movie station, WTTV, Channel 4.
Another ruling in the Ryan White case today. We'll have details on the Indiana Nightly News after basketball.
Good evening. I'm Gary Lee at the Channel 4 Sports Desk. At this time, we had planned on bringing you on a tape-delayed basis the Michigan-Purdue basketball game from Mackey Arena in West Lafayette. However, because of the inclement conditions outside, we've had some difficulty in transporting the tape from West Lafayette to the south side of Indianapolis. So our plans now are to join our regularly scheduled programming. Then at 10 o'clock, we'll have the Indiana Nightly News. And hopefully by 10...
Vega, still an honest cigar.
He's doing it again.
Let's go split right, 688 right on one. Ready? Right. All right, old fella, let's have a good one now.
How's it feel when each season gets a little bit tougher? Used to hurt till Tuesday. Now it hurt till Friday.
Hey, man, not today.
Rookies.
Take it easy on Mr. Large.
Let's go easy on Mr. Large.
Come on, back it up. Let's go. Be away.
But I've been here before. And I'll be there on Sunday.
Sports Illustrated. Get the feeling.
Where in the world would you go to breakfast in France? Do a little shopping in the Casbah? And have dinner in Japan? Where would you go to hula in Hawaii one night and be on Broadway the next? To go for the green and sail off into the blue? Where would you go? Florida, to be together at the world's greatest resort, Walt Disney World. Surprise.
3 games already in the barn as we talk to you on a Saturday night.